Would you like more sales on Amazon? What is crucially important is that your listing acts as your best salesperson who's making sales for you when you're not even around, for customers all over the country and even all over the world. So it comes down to making sure that your listing is set up in a way that is not repelling customers, but is attracting them and getting them to click add to cart and buy. So I'm going to share with you behind the scenes how we do this at my Amazon guy. So if you're a seller yourself, you can take everything you learn and you can do it yourself if you'd like. Or if you're an agency and you want to just see how we do it, I'm going to share with you a little bit of behind the scenes of how we do it. So if you want us to take a look at your listing individually, you can always go to myamazonguy.com/ASIN, ASIN. We will take a look at one of your ASINs and be more than happy to share with you ways that you can improve it. So let's just share a little bit behind the scenes of how we would take a look at listings, how we've improved some of the listings for people that have hired us either on a project basis or some of our clients that we're working with ongoing. So we do have quite a few things that we look at when we're looking at the listing. So if you scroll on down here, we're looking at, some SEO factors. How was the keyword research that went into it? Are the images looking professional? Is there engaging A+ content? Does the copy sell the product? And then also, do you have a brand story? Now, you may be saying, that's all great, but what does that look like in practice? Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you. So if you wanted to, you can always go to myamazonguy.com and look at our listing optimization services page. And we'll show you behind the scenes some of the hundreds of brands that we've helped. And you can see the image stack and whatnot that we've worked on. So I'm going to just pick the first one here with this PillowFlex. This is one of our ongoing clients. Been with us for a long time. So you can see here, we improved their main image. Because if you just tried to have an image with, let's say, a white pillow on a white background, is that going to draw the eye of the customer? Probably not. It's going to kind of, fade into the surface. And then even if they look up a very specific keyword, they're probably wondering, is that actually what I'm looking for? So for here, a little bit of branding, but it's not, the branding is not the most important part. It says that it's synthetic down, meaning, the inside of it, and the size of it. So 24 by 24. So it's about 2 feet by 2 feet. So 24 inches by 24 inches. And then we got this little made in the USA. Now, one thing very important to note, make sure if you put made in the USA, you can comfortably argue that it truly is made in the USA in case anyone ever questions it, from the FTC or anything like that. So you want to make sure that that is a valid claim if you're making the made in the USA claim. But your main image is going to be the number one reason people click on your product. So if you just think about it, like when you're searching on Amazon, you type in, let's say, synthetic down pillow or something to that effect, or 24-inch by 24-inch pillow. You want to make sure that that product is what you're looking for. And so having like a hang tag here. Now, the thing you got to be careful of hang tags is it has to at least kind of look natural. It can't just be, hanging off to the side or, above. Like they don't like the floating where it doesn't look like it might be attached to it. The reality is this is probably, photoshopped on there, although it looks like it could be a sticker added on to the pillow or to the packaging. I mean, that might be an actual hang tag that comes with it. We're just kind of showcasing it a little differently, than what you might see if you saw it in the store. But you can generally get away with something that looks like this. In worst case scenario, if you ever do something with your main image and Amazon doesn't like it and, it gets rejected, the listing gets suppressed, all you got to do is put back in the original image and then your image will be back up and running, we found. All right, so next up, you want to look at your image stack. So beyond your main image, taking a look at this, and it's helping people make the decision. So choosing the right size, what fits, what's for their needs. So this just shows people a little bit more, some of the questions they might be having. We're showcasing that in the images. So a little bit of lifestyle images here showing the pillow on a couch, showing it also on a couch with other pillows, but also saying that it's, cruelty free. So, people that, concerned about, pets and animals, guilt-free comfort, dust-free, no feather messes. I mean, I have feather pillows at my house and it's like all of a sudden, the feathers are sticking out. So what are some of the things that people are concerned about, and showcase those? It's like little icons here, no quills, no odors, just plush. So helping people understand what the product is all about. So you want to think about that in your main image stack. And don't be afraid to go beyond just the images that people would see. So you see here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the video. Now this one here, you could probably just have that be an image, but let people click and see more. Something like this that at least shows what the size is. Now you wouldn't want to make that like your second image. It's probably not going to provide enough value. Whereas these other images are providing more value, like easy care. So, what is it that your customers want to know to make a decision? Then also think about your main image. This is going to have the most, you could call it SEO juice. So this is going to be the biggest factor in your ranking, is what keywords show up here. So you really want to be very intentional about what you're including in there. Then you have your bullet points. Now, one thing we like to say here at My Amazon Guy is that text is for robots and pictures are for people. So pictures are really to help people make an informed decision. And expect that someone is going to read this, some customer, but most people are just clicking through, they're scrolling, they're looking at pictures, they're not reading, if you've got basically, War and Peace, or some War and Peace is a stereotypical long book. If you have the long blocks of text, it's not bad for the algorithm, but people are likely not going to read it. Or let's just say most people aren't going to read it. So you still want it to be good for the people that do read it, because oftentimes those are people that are really thinking through it, that decision of whether or not to purchase your product. But definitely scroll through and make sure that, it's including some important keywords, but also selling the product to the people that do read it. And the more it has those important keywords and sells the product, the more the algorithm is going to pick all this up. All right. So scrolling on down, then you want to have a brand story. So here's the brand story. So from the brand, this is something we do for our clients. It talks a little bit about the brand itself and then showcases some of the other products. So this is a way to kind of cross-sell. Like somebody who purchases that might say, oh, I need a different size product or a different size pillow, or I need a pack of 2, or I need smaller ones or something. And so they can see what we have available. Then coming down here, so this product description, so to speak, this is our A+ content. So we've got images, we've got text in the images to help people understand, but we also have, see how I was able to highlight that? And that means that that's crawlable text. So this is text that people are able to highlight. And if they can highlight it, it means it's crawlable. So that means it's not just text that you're depending on AI to possibly read. The algorithm is going in and looking at all the HTML and pulling out crawlable text to have a better understanding of the product and what the product is all about. So this gives us a chance to have more SEO keywords in the product. And then here, more. So all this, there's opportunities to showcase not just the product and have these lifestyle images, which helps to sell it, but we're also helping people who want to read a little bit more, but we're also helping that text is for robots. So this helps the algorithm better understand the product. And the better the algorithm understands the product, the more likely you are to rank and get more impressions and more sales. All right. So scrolling down here a little bit more about the product. Now, you definitely, if you have a lot of products, it's a good idea to have a comparison chart. Now, comparison charts are great because you can, in this case, show that like you've got different sizes. So in this case, we'd want to showcase some of the other sizes, which are also ones that people would likely potentially buy. Now, one other thing I want to highlight here is behind the scenes, we have another soldier, so to speak, who's going to battle for us. And that is our alt text. Wrong button. So here, the alt text is showing us, we've got some other keywords that we've added in here. So we've added more keywords in here. So you can actually, for each image, other than now they don't accept it for the comparison chart, but for a lot of these other images, you can add up to 100 characters of alt text, which is going to help you sell the product. So this is a great way to get more text to help the algorithm understand your product. So these are all things to think about. And then, as you're deciding, okay, what do I need to improve my listing? And a lot of times I hear people say like, but my listing is well optimized. Is it? And, I'm sure it is. And you put a lot of work into it, a lot of heart, but oftentimes you have to take a step back and decide, Am I saying that it's well optimized because I believe it's well optimized or because customers are buying it? And so always look at what are some incremental things you can do to your listing. Even if you improve it 1%, that 1% over time will compound on itself. And so if you're constantly making little tweaks here and there that improve, it's going to help you. We think, based on the results we've seen for our clients, the number one thing you can do to start off with, if you're not sure what to start off with on your listing, is going to be your main image. So like, for example, here's an example of, this main image. It's a bar of soap. Okay, great. Now here, bar of soap with packaging. So a little bit of branding showing that it's made in the USA. There's no doubt it must be lime because you can see the lime there. You see the bar of soap, and there's a flower there. So that shows the jasmine. So jasmine lime. So we're not just telling people it's jasmine lime, we're showing them. Whereas if you just see this hunk of soap, like, what is it? Like, you're assuming people are going to read all that text. So all things to think about when you're looking at your listing images. And feel free, again, to come on our website and you can take a look at, here's another example of a similar where, yes, it tells people here on the soap what it is. In this case, it's got a sticker on it, but having the packaging and using that real estate on the packaging to showcase some of the benefits is hugely impactful. And you can always, again, go back to our website and take a look at some of the other listings that we've done. So if you're concerned about your main image and whether or not, it's going to have your listing taken down, chances are your listing is not going to get taken down from what we have found, which I mentioned earlier. You may just have to swap the images out. But really what it comes down to is if you are the customer and you're trying to decide what to click on, you just see, 50 plus listings on page one. You're not thinking about like how good of a person is the seller, how much heart did they put into it? All they care about is what's in it for them. And is it very clearly showcasing the value proposition and drawing their eye into it? So if your listing isn't doing that on the search engine results page and it's not getting people to understand this is the right product for them and why they should purchase it on the listing, then you are already behind the 8 ball. So if you want our help in any way, shape, or form, you can always get a free listing audit by going to myamazonguy.com/ASIN, which we will have a link to down below. And with that, I hope this was helpful and we wish you the best.